Hi, this is Nanette Tosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, June 5th, 2020. Looking at fire potential impacts over the next few days, we are looking at some pretty exciting weather today. We will see some dry conditions with gusty winds over western Nevada, eastern Nevada, and parts of Utah. You can see those areas highlighted in orange on the map today. In these areas, fuels are a mix of critical and marginal. Also today we are looking at a mix of wet and dry thunderstorms. You can see those areas with the yellow dots on the map for Friday, and then further east where there's more moisture in place, those storms will be wetter. As we move into Saturday and Sunday, we'll see much colder temperatures with wetter showers and thunderstorms. This is because we have a cold front moving through the area that will bring significantly colder weather to the area. So Saturday and Sunday, much colder, much wetter. Across the south on Saturday and Sunday, we still could continue to see some gusty winds with low relative humidity. Over the past 24 hours, really not much in the way of precipitation, quite dry, but we did see some lightning yesterday with some drier thunderstorms. Fire activity is slowly beginning to increase across the Great Basin with some new starts each day. If we look at the observed precipitation over the past 7 days and the past 14 days, you can see it really has been quite dry, especially across southern Nevada. There has been little, if any, precipitation across central and southern Nevada over the past 2 weeks, so really quite dry across the southern part of the Great Basin. ERCs are quite high. You can see on the map here that across the Arizona Strip and central and eastern Utah, ERCs are in the 70th and even up to the 80th percentile. So really high ERCs with the hotter and drier weather that we have seen. Continuing to look at the ERCs, even northwestern Utah, you can see GB25 is approaching record values. So high ERCs, but those will be coming down with the cold, wet system that we are expecting this weekend. Live fuel moisture, sagebrush moisture is right around normal. You can see these sampled sites trending pretty close to normal. The only exception to that is the Elko site, which is below normal, but generally closer to normal elsewhere. Satellite today shows that moisture beginning to make its way up into the Great Basin. So for today, again, a pretty exciting day. You can see the image on the right with our significant fire potential forecast. Much of the area under a high risk, looking at wind and lightning threats today. If we look at today in more detail, the image on the left shows some pretty strong winds. Generally winds in the 30 to 35 mile an hour range, wind gusts, but we could see some higher wind gusts in there as well, and really low relative humidities area-wide. The image on the right shows precipitation amounts, and this is just to kind of point out the areas where we are expecting those storms to develop this afternoon. Central Nevada should see some thunderstorms, but they will be quite dry. As we move into Saturday, we will see that a cold front making its way through the area. Temperatures will drop, relative humidities will increase with that system moving through on Saturday. Looking in more detail, you can see relative humidities come up a bit on Saturday, and we are still looking at some gusty winds, but in the area where the winds are strong and the fuels are critical, relative humidity should be above the critical threshold. Looking at precipitation on Saturday, you can see pretty good precipitation amounts. Looking at precipitation on Saturday, you can see some pretty good precipitation totals there on the right. Eastern Utah will see quite a bit of precipitation, as well as areas in Nevada where that cold front moves through. As we move into Sunday, that system continues to make its way through the Great Basin. We will continue to see gusty winds on Sunday, and with some lower relative humidities across the south, we do have a high risk for wind on Sunday for the Arizona Strip. Looking at Sunday in a little more detail, again with that image on the left, you can see the really gusty winds, especially across southern Utah and the Arizona Strip, and the lower relative humidities further south. Sunday will be much cooler across the Great Basin. You can see the image on the left with that maximum temperature forecast. Much cooler across the Great Basin than what we will be seeing the next few days. And again, another day of showery, wet weather on Sunday. You can see from the image on the right that we're expecting more precipitation on Sunday. So over the next 3 days, pretty impressive precipitation accumulations in the forecast. You can see portions of Utah could see up to 2 inches of rain over the Uinta Mountains. So quite wet, across most of the Great Basin, but again, far southern Nevada missing out on the action. As we move into Monday, that storm system makes its way out of the area. We'll see much quieter conditions on Monday. Similar on Tuesday, all the area in green and yellow after the cooler temperatures from that storm. And then as we move into Wednesday, we'll start to see temperatures rebounding a bit as high pressure builds over the area. And then on Thursday, we'll start to see winds shift to the south ahead of another system that could impact the Great Basin later next week. In the next 7 days, quite a bit of precipitation. The majority of that will be coming through early this weekend with the storm system making its way through the Great Basin. Finally, an 8 to 14 day outlook, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for above normal temperatures across about the southeastern half of the Great Basin, below normal temperatures further north, above normal temperatures across the northwestern part of the Great Basin, and below normal precipitation further to the southeast. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thanks.